Survived the water?
Yeah. Means really good job.
Good evening and welcome to a regularly scheduled meeting of the Hartford City Plan Commission. All members are present. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And we would look for a review of the minutes of April 11th, 2022.
Also move.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for accepting the minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. Okay, well, we welcome back members. Alderperson Joe Kohler, our Vice Chairperson Dennis Reagan, and I suppose I should be happy I'm back. Okay, item number 5, discussion and consideration for a conditional use permit for Schnorrenberg's Flooring, 15 Mill Street. And heading out all of our discussions is our city planner, Justin Drew.
So this is a public hearing. So I will read the public notice. Sorry, it was...
No worries, okay.
Yes, please. Yes.
So, in the revision of having this as a public meeting, I call the, or a public hearing, I call the public hearing in order and ask for a reading of the notice.
Please take notice that a public hearing will be held at 5:30 p.m. or thereafter on June 13th, 2022 in the Common Council Chambers at the lower level of City Hall, 109 North Main Street, by the City of Hartford Plan Commission to consider the following. A request for a conditional use has been filed by Schnorrenberg's Floor Coverings to put window signs that would cover more than 50% of the windows at the property located at 15 Mill Street, zoned B3 General Business. Section 13.0404 of the Code states that following a public hearing and after careful consideration, the Plan Commission may grant the conditional use permit as applied for, grant the conditional use permit with conditions deemed appropriate, or deny the permit. A map of the parcel and proposed renderings can be viewed in the Planning and Zoning Office by appointment, 109 North Main Street, Monday through Friday between the hours of 7:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Purpose of said hearing is to hear those persons who wish to express their opinion for or against the granting of this conditional use, dated the 27th day of May 2022. This appeared in the Daily News May 27th and June 3rd, and 20 notices were sent.
Thank you very much. At this time, we would ask anybody wishing to come forward for the conditional use permit. You may come up and speak. You have 3 glorious minutes. Any person looking to come forward to speak for the conditional use permit? Anybody looking for? Hearing none. Anyone wishing to speak against granting the conditional use permit for Schnorrenberg's Flooring at 15 Mill Street? Anybody against? Anybody against? Hearing none, we'll have discussion by the Plan Commission. Anybody wishing to make any comments, questions, concerns? Ask our city planner anything? If not, if not, we'll call hearing closed and ask for motion to approve. Is that what you were going to do?
Unless he wants to read about the sign.
Oh, okay.
Conditional use permit.
And Mayor, I apologize that the agenda doesn't have it all laid out. As
That's
it normally
correct.
is.
It
I'm
does
just
not.
like, wait a minute,
No
this is a
worries.
public hearing. How come you're, because I didn't put it in there. So that is my fault. I apologize.
No worries.
Just a quick review. In general, window signs are allowed without a permit, and they can cover up to 50% of a window. You can allow aggregation between windows. The windows that they propose to do this for are located on the 2nd floor, so they're not at street level. As Sumner Street, kind of, as you go west, it goes down. I'm sure most of you are familiar with them.
Yep.
In general, staff is not in favor of covering windows, especially when it covers store space. But in this instance, it's covering area that's used for storage and for inventory. So they're essentially tinted at this point. You don't really see anything. They don't add anything to the building. And what they're proposing would show their products, but also kind of create almost a pseudo window into the building. So I think in this case, it's very appropriate, and I recommend in favor.
Thank you.
So this isn't the type of material they could, some of that material you could see, you could see through, so the window would be functional. Even as you're looking at it outside, you don't see in, you could still see out. Is that not that same type of material?
I don't know if you can see out, you would not be able to see in. It would be completely opaque from the one side.
Yeah, I mean, it looked good to me.
Also move for approval.
Motion for approval? Okay, Ralph, second?
second.
Scott, second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you. Item number 6, discussion and consideration of a sign permit for Hartford Auto Museum, 147 North Rural Street. To City Planner Justin Drew.
Kitzel Museum basically wants to put a sign showing a picture of the 1923 Kissel Gold Bug above their existing sign. Doesn't get much more historic than that, I suppose. So it meets the area requirements. Staff recommends in favor.
Super. Questions, comments? Go ahead.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve, second by Tom. Any further discussion?
I think it looks nice. It's a
Oh,
nice
yes,
addition.
very nice. You bet. To think they were built here.
Yep.
No further discussion. We'll move to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. All right, item number 7, discussion and consideration of an extraterritorial certified survey map at 5905 Pleasant Hill Run.
So the map shows where the city is in relation, or where the property is in relation to the city. And what the property owner is doing is actually they're not really creating a new lot, they're more taking from one and giving to another, and often when that happens, if they're not creating a new lot, that does not need to come before you, just something that the mayor and I can sign. But the way they did this, the procedure is that it goes through Plan Commission and Council, but they're not even actually creating a new lot, they're just redividing existing and also dedicating land for right-of-way purposes for Pleasant Hill Road. But it does meet the surrounding development pattern. Does meet with the city's extraterritorial ordinance, and it does meet with the city's intermunicipal agreement with the town of Erin.
Any questions for Justin?
Just curious, Justin, do you have any, I mean, historically, do you know were the sizes different back then when this was originally developed, or was it, do you have any idea?
It's an older lot, and so that, I don't know for sure, but that's my guess, is that it's kind of what is now a substandard lot, but was fine at the time.
Okay.
And so they're basically taking enough from lot 3 so that lot 1 is a full acre.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's their goal.
Thank you. Would entertain a motion to approve. Tony, to
Make a
approve.
motion?
Second by Joe. Okay, we have a motion and a second for the certified survey map 5905 Pleasant Hill Road. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Number 8, discussion and consideration of rezoning request for 90 North Main Street.
South Main. But
South Main Street.
Jessica and Harinder Gill were before this body as well as the council in February for a land use plan amendment. They purchased the former Westfall Mansion bed and breakfast with the intent of turning it into a 2-family residence. And so they're at the point of this being the next step. We essentially discussed it back when we discussed the land use plan. It does meet the requirements for the RD2 2-family district, so and it does meet with the land use plan requirements, so staff recommends in favor of the rezoning to RD2 2-family.
So based on what we've discussed before, this is a little bit more perfunctory, just to try and get everything in line, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that the primary substantive decision was made back in February with the land use map, and this is just a continuation of that process. So yes, it's just more procedural.
Okay.
Well, we always looking, didn't I read into it, it said they're looking at doing as like a two residents, is that what it?
Yes, it would be two fairly large residences in the mansion.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion to approve by Tom, second by Ralph. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. Last item, number 9, other than adjournment, discussion and consideration of a site plan for Peace Lutheran School, 1025 Peace Lutheran Drive. Justin.
The existing school, and I think you all know where it is located kind of at the north end of the 14-acre site. And they propose building an addition over existing parking area. The addition would be 15,600 square feet, so fairly substantial. Surrounded primarily by residential uses as well as the Peace Lutheran Church and the Gardens of Hartford Assisted Living Facility. Would easily meet all setback, lot coverage, and height requirements of the I-1 institutional district. That shows where the new addition would be. I'm going to come back to what it looks like. The facade would be constructed of flat and architectural metal and wall panel on the second story and modular face brick on the first story to do its best to match with the existing building, so it should fit in quite well. Windows on the 3 sides that are open, that do not connect to the existing building. The intention is to create new class spaces for K through 4 classrooms, as well as bathroom and storage spaces and stairwells. So they do propose to keep the existing parking area that would remain around the building, and this would serve as a fire response location, so it works for that. It's also for deliveries and drop-offs. Sometimes the teachers will bring in supplies to their own classrooms. And then finally, it'll serve as just a hard surface play space for the kids. So they're going to keep that, but it's not intended to serve as an actual parking lot during the school days. As the addition is placed over existing parking area, there's no impervious surface change, and they did submit a stormwater management plan that complied with our requirements. There is a high voltage electric line that will need to be moved to accommodate this building, and they understand that that would be done at their expense. The only other thing to really mention is this will likely come back as a conditional use permit request for how they how they construct it next month. They intend to construct it next summer. They are looking at having volunteers, former, kind of retired contractors come to do it. It would help cut down on costs. And to cut down on their costs, they are going to be requesting that they be able to live there temporarily in campers, essentially. So just a heads up that that's coming. That's not for discussion today, because that will be a conditional use public hearing next month. So otherwise, staff recommends in favor of the proposed site plan as presented.
I've got a question or two. When we're looking at the area, you said that this is going to be going on existing paved area that's parking.
Yes.
Are they going to be then replacing that area with more paved area? In other words, whatever they're taking up, they're going to pave over?
No, in large part because it was never really needed for parking. So they just haven't needed the parking. They have adequate parking between them and the church. So at this point, no additional parking is proposed.
So that with the increased staff and all of that, they really think that they've got that handled with the current parking, considering you
Yes.
mentioned that the kids are going to be playing on that hard surface. So I just don't want to crowd that neighborhood area with a lot of cars because they are cutting into their parking.
Sure. If it turns out that parking is inadequate, and I expect it to be adequate, but they do have space, as you look at the aerial, a little north of their existing parking and still maintaining an appropriate setback from the properties to the north of residential.
And for the conditional use permit, only because you brought it up, that will then, of course, go out to all the neighbors.
Everyone within 200 feet of this property, yes.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Any other questions for Justin on this? Go ahead.
This is two-level building here?
Correct.
I see you got stairways going up and down. Can you enter, I was trying to figure this out, enter the top level from?
From the existing building, yes, you would enter the top level.
From the existing?
Yes.
'Cause I didn't see any elevator in here. So I was just,
Yeah.
so they can get in from one to the other.
Correct.
Any other questions? Look for motion to approve. Ralph to approve. Second by Scott. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. We stand adjourned to the call of the chair. Thank you very much.